Welcome in, my friends. 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. We are in the second Monday of February. I hope February is off to a wonderful start for you all. Coming back from a little bit of, I call it the winter break. I take a summer break, I take a winter break, and this is the winter break. I travel to look for more snow, more cold than where I live. I go straight north, almost up to damn near Lake Superior, in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Great time. And this year, we got a lot of growth going on. We got a lot of changes happening. So I want to take a little bit of time to really start letting those things sink in. And a couple of things struck me about what makes what we do here something fun and different. So we just recently, if you haven't seen the episode, go back, check it out with our man, Josh Sack. We just added Josh to the team to look over our CRM product. It's a product we've been developing and working with folks. We do not have a CRM. We are simply working on easier ways to help people get better at them. I know there's a lot of AI technology out there. Most of it isn't good, and none of it will be as good as what human beings can do. And I know that that's a topic of discussion, but it's true. The human eye, the human ability to understand context, to understand nuance, will always go further in that. So anyways, in thinking about it, typically as we get out for this trip, some things change, right? So like you have to still work and do things, but I noticed myself doing a little bit less work. Although on this trip, it's the beginning of the year, right? It's the beginning of the year is typically marred in cancellations, and we're no different than anyone else, and we deal with the same thing. And so we've been dealing with our fair share. And so I had breakfast in one place, hopped on the sled and went 50 miles north and ended up in another place. And within that 50-mile ride, I had lost a couple deals. I had opened my phone to some loss, and I thought to myself, boy, this feels different than usual. And what I mean by that is that it was these losses were coming from people who typically aren't in the business of scaling back when things slow down. And so it struck me as very odd. And so I started to think, is this the beginning of the year, or is this potentially something bigger because our industry is going through a touch of compression? And so the headwinds for automotive right now are not great. I think everyone sees that. I think everyone felt that. I don't think they're doom and gloom. I just don't think that they're as wonderful as they have been. And I think if you felt any sort of pain from last year, the guess is that will continue into this year. So anyway, so here I am, and I'm thinking, man, this is weird. Normally, I'm very reactive when I get cancellations. Like I'm like, no, come here. Like, let me see how I can fix this. And now I'm just like, I'll tell people thank you. I'll offer them opportunity. But at the end of the day, we're grown. We got a lot going on, and so you can't be sitting around begging for business, right? Or expecting that you deserve the business because you've been around with someone for X amount of years. We also are going through a couple of general manager changeovers in our world and in our history. That does not bode well for us. We do not usually survive those situations. Now, the one we're involved in right now is a great client with a small Ford dealership down south, and so far so good, right? But it's different that when you open your mind up to the possibility that things happen for a reason, and that you are doing things to try and always be on the right side of that argument. You're trying to fill your sales funnel. You're trying to treat your customers right so that you retain them, and all of these things. And on this trip, I realized that it starts to come down to the financial offer, right? So how much is something? And affordability is something that's major in not only America in general, but especially in the car business. Dealers don't have endless pots of money. They have to be smart with their money, more so now than they have been for probably the last 5-6 years. Things are getting a little bit tighter, and advertising to advertise doesn't make sense anymore. We have to be more targeted, we have to be more specific. And so I've been thinking a lot about affordability as it relates to our products. And I talk with my team a lot about it. And again, some of the guys on the team are like, hey, why are we the first ones to have to be pushed back on price? And others are like, well, should we just lower the price to get ahead of it? And I land somewhere in between. I think that you have to keep margin in your product. You can't do products. You can't give away products. In our world, everything that we do in our world is human run. So I can't give you a free month. That's a free human. They're not going to do the work for free, and I'm going to pay them. So it doesn't work that way. But between what you pay and what you retail, where is that margin? What is that place? And I've been trying to find that for a long time. Our original products were really easy to do that with because they were just a couple of people like myself doing the work, and we were all getting paid a couple $100 and charging a couple $100, and it all worked. But as we've scaled, as we've gotten bigger, we brought on more people. We brought on a bigger, more robust product offering. And so some of that has to follow suit. But to what end? That's the question that I have for myself. It's the question that I routinely come back to is, okay, this is where we are now, but where will we go if we need to pay our analysts more money? Where will we go if our clients need to be charged less money based on economic changes or whatever it is? I mean, people like a product, but they can't afford the service type thing. And, we always say around here, our service isn't for everyone. But when I leave those meetings, I think to myself, but could it be? Could I find a way to financially make it viable? And again, we work on efficiencies every single week about getting our teams faster, bigger, better at the work that they do so that we can keep within that scale. But the more you scale, the more that you need people, the more that you need people, the more that you have balance required. We've got an unbelievable team of people. I think me and my wife, and then maybe our business partner, maybe the only people in the mix that don't have children. Actually, one of our analysts doesn't too, but the majority of people do. And so it's this whole world of making sure that those people and their families can stick with us and have what they need from us. And most of the work that people do with us is side hustle, but I still take it serious. I still want to make sure that I can help those people do whatever it is they're trying to accomplish financially. So when you do that and you wrap that into your head, you start thinking, shit, is something better than nothing, or is pricing it just high enough makes sense to keep the riffraff out, as we say, right? Because we have great clients. And I'm not trying to be the asses of the masses company here, because that comes with headache. And the more headache clients you have, the more headaches you have. And frankly, in my 12 years of doing this, almost 13 now, I can tell you those hassles are not worth it. Short-term money, sure. Long-term headache, not worth it. Just not. You can learn things, sure, but it's typically not really worth it. So on this winter break, what I focused on is pricing. What I focused on is value, because those two things go together for me quite a bit. And so our value is through the roof. Our pricing is it's an expensive product because, as I say, it's human run, not robot run. So it has to be. But to what end? And as the future of AI unfolds and jobs get replaced and things go away, how long can we stay at where we're at to stay competitive in the future landscape? My job is to think about the future, not about right now. My team focuses on right now retaining clients. It's my job to look ahead a year, 2 years, 3 years. And that work previously has been pretty obvious. Now, I just read something that AI is basically, replicating and duplicating and triplicating itself every 7 months. Not 10 years, not 5 years, 7 months. So every 7 months, this thing's going through, a year's worth of transformation. That's fucking huge, scary. But I'm still gonna put my bet on people. I'm betting on people, and that's what I'm going for. So if you're someone who wants more people involvement in your dealerships, give us a call. Let us see how we can help. And if you're someone who's into AI and thinks, man, is this AI doing what I need it to do? Give us a call. We can help with that too. But to a larger, greater extent, what I've learned on this break is that the team is what matters. Who you surround yourself is what will allow you to grow and or potentially see that maybe things aren't working as you thought they were. That's it for me on the winter break. I hope you're all enjoying your month. I hope you all get time to spend doing it as you please. And join me next week for one more lesson from up in the UP, because, man, it was a good one. We'll talk to you all next week. Have yourselves a great week.